Moose. Tell us what you
We've
got in the
got all
background.
kinds of stuff going on. We're right here, right now. We're live. Let's start it off like this.
Yeah. Podcast for sci-fi. Tune in, let's talk. Hosted by Moose Magic, Mike, and Game God. Yeah, talking everything sci-fi. So turn up your radio, bringing you that extra, like extra terrestrial, from movies to comics. We got it. From long live and prosper to beam me up, Scotty. You're in the right place if it's sci-fi you like. Yeah. Where all things sci-fi come to life. Woo! Podcast for sci-fi. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. Yes, welcome everybody. We're podcast for sci-fi. Is there any debates going on tonight we need to know about?
Not tonight. I think it's Thursday, right?
Hey, it might be a debate when we talk.
There's gonna be some debate tonight on the podcast. So there you go.
Right.
There might be.
Yes. Mike, how's the weather out there in wherever you're at?
So we have a cold front moving in as we from the left side.
So what's the cold front? Are they the triangles or the circles? Half triangles, half what's cold front?
You got me.
You're the weather guy.
Read what they put up
there. I don't know what a cold front is.
Hey, hit the button on the remote. Make the screen change.
Yeah, sorry.
The screen change?
There you go.
What I was trying to do over here. I was going to give you some geography, but nothing else happens. So.
Hey, we got Moose on location. Moose, I see you're in the thick of it. Moose, the weather looks really rough out there.
Yeah, the Jaguars are taking on the. I'm doing the weather. I'm sorry.
Yes, the weather.
It's going to be hot right here.
And Mike with sports. Super Mike.
Oh, I was not prepared. I thought I was doing the weather.
Or maybe it was me. I wasn't prepared. I got you guys mixed up. You know what? The notes are backwards. That's what it is.
There we go. That's the problem.
Yes.
Hey, that's always the problem, though.
Live at 10. We'll see you then.
Come back.
Anybody coming in? Anybody tuning into this?
No one's tuning in yet. Not with us.
Yeah. That's true, too. No one's tuning into this either. Yeah, right. So we're just waiting for a tune in, and if not, we just do it by ourselves, and that's how we do. We podcast. We get
people thought it was Wednesday.
Yeah, is it Wednesday? We changed our date.
Yeah, they changed it. Hey, don't worry, we're still an Emmy award-winning podcast. It doesn't matter.
We are. You guys.
I remember you used to throw out all those accolades before.
I used to, man. The number one podcast in the state of Florida.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, all kinds of good
people might
award-winning
forget.
Podcast.
You gotta remind them.
That's true, because not everybody knows we were award-winning. Ranked number one in the state of Florida. Ranked. Yeah. I won't tell you where we rank overall in the nation. That's why we need more listeners. I mean, I could tell them, but we're not number one.
Mike's working on Nevada.
Yep.
Is it Nevada or Nevada?
It's Nevada.
It's Nevada.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
It's Nevada.
It didn't to me either, but it's their state, so not my state now. So I'm happy to apply.
Your state now? Well, you can change it. Do it.
Nevada.
Change whatever you want. Just make the change. Don't worry about it.
Just like it's not Louisville.
Right?
It's not Louisville?
No, it's Louisville.
Not Florida. Although
Florida.
Florida.
We're talking about everything but sci-fi, guys. We're just killing some time. This is what we call the pregame.
That's right. That's right. Hey,
and
Mike's adding to his collection. Mike's gonna take the name The Collector. By the way, he's looking pretty. He's looking pretty thick back there.
Here's the difference. This is all my stuff. This is everything. There's a few things down below you can't really see, but this is everything. So,
all right. See, so there you go. You sure you want to try to strip me of that title so soon, Game God?
I'm just, it's been a while since I've seen the collection. I guess that's what it is. Mike's just adding stuff every week. There's a new artifact in his domain.
Yeah. He's got a long ways to go. We're gonna get him there eventually.
I just move things around.
Oh, exactly. It's like a supermarket. Moving
this
around.
one is in the picture right now. Because I have a couple things. I have Captain Phasma that's not in the picture. I have the Sorting Hat not in the picture. Things like that. So every once in a while,
don't give it all away, Mike. Don't give it all away.
Yeah, but nobody's on right now. It's just us.
No one will ever hear this. You're fine.
You know, right? You're right. There is a debate going on tonight. We'll just chalk it up to that.
Could be people are voting. You know, there's early voting out. People are.
Oh, yes, that's right. That explained a lot of traffic today. There's a lot of traffic in the air.
Yeah.
I have a sci-fi question / fantasy question for you, Moose. What's going on with Disney World? Have you opened it up completely yet, or they still
not
doing?
Opened up completely. They're still working in a limited capacity. As a matter of fact, they've asked people for the first time I've ever seen this, and that is they've asked people if they want to cancel their membership. There's limited time to do that for your annual passes that you could do it and get out of it. Yeah, and before that's not the case.
I thought you were going to say something like they're asking the people if they know people who want to come.
No, not at all.
Do you think you're trying to get people from other places to come in?
I don't think so. I think that
holders are reserving their spots.
I don't know. I haven't been able to figure that piece out of why they would not want the money coming in. Maybe getting feedback. Some people are unhappy that they're not, able to go, or they have to make a reservation to go, or whatever. But either way, I mean, I guess Disney's not hurting for money, but they are definitely hurting for money. You know what I mean? I mean,
right.
They're not at 100% capacity.
Hey, you know how to get people to go there?
I didn't realize Disneyland still isn't open.
They are not. No.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah.
I thought they were open.
No, they haven't been open. They haven't opened since.
Yeah. So
you know how they get people to go is just give free buddy passes. Hey, bring a friend for free.
It's not about getting people to come. The state won't let them open.
Yeah, it's the state. It's California.
Well, I'm talking about in Florida. I think, hey, bring a friend. Get them come on over.
I don't have any problem with people coming. They're just limited, and they're
still capped at a limited capacity. So that's the problem.
So you're saying it's the capacity level that's limiting them, not that people don't want to go.
Yeah,
right, of course. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I guess.
Hey, are we live?
Are we live?
Did we? Do we
hit the record button?
We're on there. Let me see.
I hit the record button. I have not hit the record button yet, as a matter of fact, because we really haven't started talking about our podcast. That's what pregame. Yeah, this is the pregame. I don't hit record on pregame. You know this. It only records on Facebook. Did you know that?
Facebook is always recording.
Did you know that though? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I
thought once you hit the button, everything is like one button push, everything starts.
You think so? Oh, okay.
I mean, we're in 2020. Everything's like streamlined now.
Yeah, I just hit record, and that's what.
Do you know 8 years ago, you used to pull on a string to get the podcast started. You used to like a zip cord.
Well, I would have to pull the zip cord a few times.
That's right. Don't forget to prime it. You got to prime it first.
So I wonder if we have issues, Moose. Carl is in the room. I just don't see him. I had to see it on my phone, so I don't know if we're going to have issues. So.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know. Like I said, it's technology. You never know what you'll see or what you won't see. I see some activity happen inside the room, but I don't see any comments.
Right. Exactly.
All
right. Oh, don't start. What are you yawning?
Yeah, what are you doing? What's going on?
It's been a long day.
I'm ready to podcast. Let's do this.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Late Night Podcast, a podcast for sci-fi. See, that actually makes a lot of sense. See, people don't realize that that's our name. That's the name of the podcast for sci-fi. What do you guys talk about? Well, it's a podcast for sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's in the name, isn't it?
Hey, the best is when you go to a con and they look at you. Podcast Sci-Fi 4.
Yes. Thank you for reading that from top to bottom. Yes. Thank you.
You really
foreground and background.
If you're not familiar with the podcast, of course, yes. But a lot of people are, Game God. I mean, you're saying that.
I know.
Familiar with the podcast.
I'm talking about like that was year 1, year 2 podcast.
That's true, and that happened quite a bit then. Yeah.
Podcast for sci-fi. What's sci-fi?
What's
sci-fi?
It's a new genre.
My sci-fi.
My book.
Yeah. My book.
Throwbacks there. That's in the archives right there. You're going into the milk crates.
My side book.
My sci-fi book. My fi book. My fi.
There you go.
My fi. There you go.
You're like
Right
hi-fi?
there. Yeah. Like hi-fi. But it's mine.
You know, it's all the Easter eggs and all the hidden jokes we got. It's so
That's funny because a lot of people, if you've been listening to us for a long time, then you get to some of these Easter eggs. So they're kind of fun. We do talk about them. It comes in the podcast pretty regularly. People just don't realize that those are literally Easter eggs of the podcast.
Hey, what was it? Episode 3, we found out that there was a butcher on the podcast.
No, I think it was episode 1.
We had our own butcher. Actually, it was a Kickstarter. Actually,
he was an originator. I got you. He was original content.
Right here.
We had butchers. We had linguistics. We had different languages. French. Yeah. I'm trying to take up the job as the butcher.
Oh, you've done a great job.
Yes,
you've done a great job.
Thank you. I was looking for that comment.
He would be proud.
So hey, I think Facebook is something wrong with Facebook. It looks pretty.
Well, there's a long delay as I'm watching it. I'll watch Gigi scratch his head, and then it's quite a delay on the other side. So
how does he scratch his head, Magic Mike?
Yeah, let's see it.
Like this. Okay.
Okay, it's small brooks.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Exactly. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, you guys are too much.
And I still haven't seen it on Facebook.
I can.
There it goes. I'm seeing me do it just now.
Oh, did you? Oh, great. Awesome. I'm going to look at something real fast before we get started here, guys. We'll start recording.
Oh, man. Hey, so Mike, what's the next piece of artifact you're looking to get? Oh, you know what? You never put up the shield and helmet.
No, I haven't. Well, there's not a lot of space. I don't have that kind of.
You don't have that kind of real estate?
I don't.
What I was going to say is, oh yeah, I see what Carl is in there. I see that now. I'm just going to the Facebook from a different tablet. So interesting. What's going on, Carl? I see you in there.
That's mobile.
He's probably waiting for us to get started.
Yeah, he's like, come on, get started. Let's talk, man. Let's talk about Star Trek. Matter of fact, I saw him over the weekend, and he says, like, hey, have you seen Star Trek Discovery yet? And I was like, no, I'm waiting. I said, don't talk about it. We're going to be talking about it on Tuesday.
Oh my goodness, Moose! You tell other people not to talk to you about? They don't talk.
Yeah, you got to. If you tell somebody, Rob Clarkson.
Rob, yes, yeah. Rob's in the building.
What's going on, Rob?
So we meet again.
Oh, that's the. Hold on just a second. I gotta do this. Okay.
We're doing good, Rob. We're doing good. See, it's good to see you doing well as well. Looks like. I mean, I assume you're doing well because you're on the podcast.
You're always doing well if we see you in the podcast.
That's absolutely correct.
All right. So let's this is how we get this started. If any of these comments, guys, you guys can read them. I don't see too many. Oh, I see some coming. But if you see any, let me know. Be sure to talk about it. Let me just do a little bit of house cleaning right here, and we're gonna get this thing started nicely. Let's see how we do this. Particularly on this episode, you're going to hear about Star Trek Discovery, Season 3, Episode 1. That's right. Xbox Remote Play is out there, not only for Android, but for, yes, iOS and Apple. Among Us is another game. Oh, we got so much more to talk about. But first, we have to listen to this.
According to Wikipedia, a nerd is a person seen as overly intellectual, obsessive, introverted, or lacking social skills. Many so-called nerds are described as being shy, quirky, pedantic, and unattractive. We're here to prove Wikipedia right.
Oh, look who they let in.
This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. If it's fantasy, sci-fi, gaming, movies, interviews, we're talking about it. We're talking about it. This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, and here's your host, Moose, Game God, and Magic Mike.
Welcome, everybody, to Podcast for Sci-Fi, episode 272. This is where all things sci-fi come to life. We've got the whole crew in the building, ready to talk about some great stuff. I'm super excited, as I am always in every single podcast. I'm super excited to talk about everything we're talking about.
Hey, Mo,
Yo,
I get. You know what? You sent me a care package not too long ago, some really cool stuff. But I get you did not have the communicator in it. I'm a little disappointed now. I'm watching you show it off, and that should have been.
Yes, I have a Star Trek communicator I held up during the live podcast feed on Facebook, 9 p.m. Yes, it is. It's not charged. I got to charge it. I don't know. I took it off the base, but very cool. Very, very cool. I got to tell you, this is one of the coolest Star Trek items I have. If you didn't know.
Well, let me tell you, it used to be state of the art. Now that's an antique in some places.
It is antique. I love. We're gonna get to that. Hey,
the Bluetooth.
Yeah. You can still buy that. I think somewhere. You got to find it. I want to find a phaser from the same maker. I forgot who made this. I have to wear glasses in order to
That's
see
how much of an antique it is.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just too small. I can't see anything on this. I got to get a magnifying glass.
His sight has left us.
Oh, wait a minute. It's property of Starfleet. I see it here. Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Starfleet made this.
Why did you think otherwise, Moose?
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
I like what Rob said. Classic intro. That's right, Rob.
Yeah.
Classic intro.
Oh, we have. Yeah, I see some people in the building, and you never know what kind of a night it's going to be inside of Facebook Live. But we are excited to talk about the things that we're bringing to you tonight. And one of those things happened to be Star Trek. We'll should we lead off with Star Trek, or should we get into something with games that is pretty exciting to talk about?
I say we do the games. You know, if you're gonna ask me, it's games first.
Oh well, then why don't we
look
just
at Mike? Mike shaking his head now.
No, oh, well, it's too
we're
late.
good. We'll put the best for last.
Get over here! Finish him. Fatality. Game over.
Yes, I love it. It's always great to hear that. You know that, guys. So the biggest thing to happen has happened. Finally, Xbox Remote Play has hit the iOS. I am so excited. I was so excited that I got in touch with Moose first thing in the morning, which never happens. And I told him, look what happened. You can now play your Xbox on your iPad, on your iPhone, and guys, seamless.
Really?
Yes, seamless. Moose, did you get a chance to? I know you're pretty stacked and packed with your schedule. Did you get a?
I did. I got a chance to play a good, solid 2 games out of it, and I will tell you that first of all, I was super excited about getting it on both my iPad and my phone. I was a little disappointed. I had to have the controller connected to play. I couldn't figure out how to do it without a controller, so of course I connected a controller. I did get a chance to play it. It was pretty good. It was a little laggy for me. So and I say a little laggy for the game that it is. It was pretty good. But when I compare it to a streaming at home on an Xbox console, well, it's not as smooth as that, but it certainly is very good, and it's still playable. Just don't lose your connection to your joystick or whatever. Your joystick. Listen to me. I read
joystick. What is that?
Yeah. And don't lose your controller. Don't lose connection, because then you're trying to go back out to get it, and yeah, you'll get disconnected. But I did get a chance to play 2 games.
So Mike, just to let you know, internet. That's all I'm going to tell you. You need to have the highest internet possible you can have to get this smooth. There is. I can tell you, when you start playing these more competitive, fast-paced games, the Apex, the Call of Duties of the world, where internet and seconds are matter, you can see the spots where you'll go up and down in spikes. Now, if you're playing a adventure game where it's a little less, it's not as twitchy, the game is seamless. It looks great. To see it on a small screen like an iPhone, I say small, it's 6-inch screen, is amazing in itself. To think that I got an Xbox machine running through my phone, right? And then to see it on the iPad. Now, I think Moose, you cannot even, I think you have to have a controller. But the good thing is it's Bluetooth. So it connects so easy. It connected so one button. Whoop, touch a screen. It was connected.
So did you notice anything between you and maybe you can't answer this, I'm not sure, between you and if somebody else is playing on their Xbox, or were you able to notice, and Moose, you might be able to, I don't know, when you were playing and you see, okay, I can tell that this is the reason why.
I think you could tell certainly that they are on a machine versus a tablet or whatever. And sometimes when I'm, of course, this is my first time playing on a tablet with just a controller, but I've always kind of made fun of the people that are kind of slow in the game, and I'm like, come on, you gotta get with it, come on. Who knows? Maybe they were playing on a tablet, but certainly. But certainly, a very cool process. They probably were thinking the same thing about me when I was playing today. They're
Pull
like,
the trigger.
Come on, guy, can you do something worthwhile? Now, here's the thing. I did end up winning the first round that I played, but I didn't do any heavy lifting at all, and that's what I'm known for, is doing the heavy lifting in the game.
Correct.
So, I really didn't do much. So I was they were carrying me. Their backs were pretty tired.
Hey, so Mike, I'm gonna try to answer as best I can. I mean, you got the Wi-Fi, right? It's not wired, and then you have a Bluetooth controller. So there's gonna be some latency between the Wi-Fi and then the Bluetooth wireless controller. So there is gonna be some latency on that. So I would imagine, again, on particularly first-person competitive shooters, you're gonna see a lag in terms of, especially if you're used to playing wired internet and wired controller.
So
you're gonna see it.
Is that gonna? So having this conversation now, is that gonna make you pull? This is cool and exciting now. It's new, it's fresh, but after a couple of weeks or something like that, going, man, I'm just not getting the same kills that I was before. I'm not moving fast enough. Are you gonna go back to your machine?
So I'm gonna take this one, Moose, because I know what your answer is already. I got to. I think I know what your answer is. Let me rephrase it now that you said that. I'm not playing on my tablet for competitiveness. I'm playing on my tablet to kill time when I'm not home, or if for whatever reason the TV that the Xbox is on is occupied and I want to get some casual game time in, per se. If I want to play this, don't take this as not podcast endorsing this, but if you want to play while you're at work and hide it, that kind of stuff, that's what I'm playing it for. If I'm playing it to be,
you gotta have a controller at that point, and that's the best. So if I could use my phone just as is, then yeah, maybe I would have a shot at playing somewhere else. But
come on, Moose, you're gonna walk around with a controller. You're walking around with a controller. It's in the briefcase now.
It's hard to do that anywhere without anybody noticing. I mean, it's a huge controller. You know this.
I think it's only a matter of time before they start making some compact ones. But nevertheless, I can tell you, to see an Xbox machine on a mobile device, you have full control of your machine. You basically it's a mirror. It's a mirror of your machine. So you have full control.
I get that, and this is exciting. I love this idea, and I'm gonna be doing this soon. I'm gonna get on. I gotta upgrade my tablet, but nonetheless, I'm concerned about those kind of games. There'll be games that I will play that may not be first person shooter, because I will be playing to win, because I don't play as often as you guys do. So if I'm going to go in, I'm going in to do damage. Right. So that's just where I'm at on it. I'm excited to try it. I'm just, for first person shooter, I'll probably keep it on my, my console.
I got to tell you this, the internet service providers, these people are going to have to step up their game. We're going to need some bandwidth, because this is definitely
look into more charges, right? That'll be another podcast.
Yeah. Exactly. So I say it's a great start. I think that here is we finally get to fully experience the Microsoft takeover. So onto other news, though. There is another game over the weekend that I got to really play that's been out. I think it's been out maybe a week or two at this point, but it's grabbing a lot of hype. A lot of hype is behind this game, right? It's a game called Among Us. Have you guys heard of it?
I have heard of it. Not seen it or played it. So
I have seen it. I haven't played it. Like Moose, similar to that. I have not played it yet, but it's been out, I think, for a couple of months now, actually, at least a month.
Yeah. So it's catching a lot of steam, particularly with Twitch or streamers that are starting to play this. And just to give a quick overview, you're basically I think it's a crew of about 8 people. 8 to 10 people, and so your crewmates, you got to do things. You have 2 to 3 imposters that actually are trying to sabotage the whole crew. And if you ever play the game Werewolf, you don't know who it is, and you're trying to figure it out through secret meetings or through public meetings and trying to figure out. The game is so much fun. I saw it, I got to play it. You can play through typing, which don't do it. It takes away from I'm trying to get out. It's the blue guy, and they kicked me out. They voted me off.
First of all, yeah, if we've got to type, then we're going back to like Oregon Trail or Zork or something.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I don't type that fast. So I know who it is. I watched the guy take somebody out, like cut him off in half, and I'm trying to type. It's the blue guy, but because I took too long to type, they thought it was me because I was quiet.
Oh, that's funny.
And they voted me off.
Not like you at all. You're never quiet.
Yes. I'm trying to spell correct at the same time. Okay, blue. No, it's not BLOE. It's BLUE. Anyway, so nevertheless, great game. It has to be played through voice, and I can see people turning in to watch it because there's comedy behind it. You get a group of friends, you don't know who to trust. All of a sudden, you're trying to see, are they going to be team ups? Are they going to be throwing people under the bus? So that's cool. And the other thing is, on that game, they're thinking about making it an esport.
Really?
So
yes.
So just from the screenshot that I saw, but the graphics don't really look like come on, they look like Nintendo 64 graphics.
How could you possibly make this, Moose? I gotta step in because, and you were right, it does look like Nintendo 64. How could you possibly make this an e-game? What's the goal, the end goal? How are you going to be? I'm the best at this. How is that even possible? And I haven't played it yet, and everybody in my house keeps trying to get me to play it with them. But I don't know how this could be.
Your people are playing it, Magic Mike?
What's that?
Your people are playing it?
Yes, they are. They have been playing it, and I know, right?
It's tough not to get sucked into it once you've played 1 or 2 games because it is fun.
I have to start playing with the people at Magic Mike's house because he never logs in to play anything.
So to answer your graphics question,
thank you very much.
To answer your graphics question, it's on mobile, it's on, you can do it for your computer, so they try to keep it simple so you can play across. But I think the point of it is the social piece of it, especially nowadays where you can't be social.
Yeah.
So
Great.
I think that's what's making this a hit as an esport. I don't know how they would make it an esport game unless they can control who is the actual imposter piece. But at that point, then that defeats the whole purpose of the game. I would.
Yeah, right. The game is kind of broken.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know if they would, but I can tell you right now, guys, you guys have got to at least get 1 or 2 games in there, and play it maybe in a group. I think you can play it on the same screen as well. But it's a pretty fun game. So
well, you know what I'm really afraid of with playing it?
What's that?
That I might start playing it all the time. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of I'm gonna like it, and then I'll start playing it all the time.
Yeah, it's a 10-15 minute play, 20-minute play. You get in, you get out kind of deal. It's like a match in Apex. You're familiar with that, Moose. You get through it pretty quick.
Well, this gameplay at work.
But I want to go back to we'll go back to Apex here in a minute. I want to talk about that. I'm excited about playing it. I didn't realize the graphics were so elementary though. I really didn't realize that. I did.
He's turned away. He's like, my eyes bleed watching it.
I've always said that a good game starts with a good story, and then the graphics come second. Now I think a lot of that has gone past me. I think it's an old way of thinking. So I think that people are like, no, I'd rather have graphics and then do the rest.
Yeah, but I'm with you, Moose, with the graphics. But I don't think for this game, there is no storyline for the most part, right? There is no goal.
Well, I know, but the gameplay itself, though, is as like the storyline. The gameplay, if you go, well, I like the competitiveness of having, someone who's actually, it's you can't predict it. You can say yeah, it's a good game because it's unpredictable, and I think that's where it comes into play instead of just graphics. But I think they could up the graphics ante a little bit. Come on, here, look at that.
Hey, the color block, the blue guy did it.
Once
the blue guy did it.
This is the Teletubbies on.
They're not a sponsor, by the way.
Once they start the micro transactions, that's when they'll start opening the Open the graphics.
Oh yeah. Well. Just on a side note, there is a second one coming out, but I want to jump on that microtransaction thing for one last segment. I know this is a curveball. I know you like to throw these in there, Moose.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard NBA 2K21, a game that's coming out, has been revealed to have unskippable advertisements.
Really?
Yes.
That's no
So
good.
so now, just to kind of give you a quick overview of it, you have your microtransaction, and they have some kind of gambling element as well in the game. And now they've added unskippable ads that are hidden in the load screens. So they think it's a load screen, but the load screen is preset to make sure it plays the whole ad, no matter how much of the load screen is needed. Yes, so they purposely did not put it in for the demos for the people to test play it, and they just recently added it into the final version of the game so that the reviewers didn't get a chance to see what those things were about, but the fans have found out.
And that's crazy. You're paying $70 to $100 depending on the kind of the game you get,
all the content. Yep.
And to get this on top of that, that's insane. It's almost like you're paying for cable or something.
Yeah, that's not right. As a matter of fact, I think that's completely wrong. I understand there's messages and I say messages. There's advertisements and games that we pay for. I get that. I get it. And that's how, some of the games are being made. I mean, quite frankly, the sponsors of the game, or they want their ad as a billboard, as a graffiti, as a whatever. So I get that, but I don't think it should be in a load screen by no means. I mean, if you want to put it in game and a little small thing like on an NBA banner that flips, I get that. Okay, fine, that's good
for the realism,
but not for the load screen.
Hey, and by the way, just so you know, the commercials have a tendency to not even be game related. So in this screenshot, it's actually a TV show on FX.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad news. That means they need more money. That's the only thing I can think of.
That's what they're doing. They're trying to squeeze every penny out. But so, quick question: would you pay $20 for the game with all the advertisements in it, or
Maybe.
would you?
Maybe.
Okay, so so it's a price thing for you.
I think I think you sacrifice that when you pay. I mean, no different than getting a free app on your phone. You know that if you get a free app, you're going to have advertisements. But if you pay, $5.99 or $14.99 for the app or whatever the price is, then you're going to get less ads and you're going to get more options. So yeah, I'm okay with that. That's just a part of business that I think that is a good business decision.
So leave it to the consumer: $20 with ads, $60 no ads. That's what I'm saying.
Consumer says, yes, yeah.
All right, so that was my curveball, Moose. Hope you like that one, and back to you.
Yeah, I just want to go back to Apex real quick, and that is for Magic Mike. With this remote play, Magic Mike, you can play like Red Dead. You can play other games, not just whatever's on your console. So if it's loaded on your console, you can play it, and I think that's the cool part. So whatever you want a game, if you have a list of games, and I don't know, but I would assume that the Xbox Game Pass would be included in this if it's loaded on your console. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good to know, because like I was saying, I would play games like that. I would play Red Dead. I would play some of these other games where I can not worry about the latency. But
no longer are the times of I don't have time. Now you take it with you everywhere.
I don't have time. Thanks for that. Game God, good stuff, man. I love that. Let's dig right into where we wanted to be tonight. We have some Star Trek timeline stuff to talk about. We've got Star Trek Discovery was released season 3, and by the way, it's only a couple of days away from episode 2. It comes out on Thursdays, and I was pretty impressed with what I saw from episode 1. I thought it was pretty interesting. There's a lot that it was a slow burn. Speaking of burn, it was a slow burn to the storyline. I know they had to lay it down so that we would understand it, but it took a while to get there, didn't it?
I can't believe you're saying that. I feel completely the opposite. I shouldn't say completely the opposite. It wasn't a slow burn. It was just right. It was Star Trek style. Think about TNG. Think about all these other shows. It was Star Trek style. And I got to tell you, as of right now, from the first episode, I was right. I'm going to say that. I may say it several times through this podcast. When I said that when I thought that the third season of Discovery is going to be the best one that we've seen so far, this first episode has proved that. this episode was beyond expectation for me, and there's so much to go into. I mean, the only thing that was weird for me was in the beginning when Burnham is, screaming and hollering that she landed and she's there. That was the only thing. From then on, it was awesome. I mean, it just to see where they're talking about going into this the new the new tech
right to the end. Sure, go ahead.
No, the new tech piece, because I've been waiting. I've been talking about this for years. I want future tech. Don't keep going back because you're afraid to present some future tech, which we're seeing with Picard. But this went beyond that. And what's really funny is Burnham was excited when she was like, "Oh, what's this do?" And you could tell that she was excited about the tech. I don't want to steal all this time right now, so I know Game God's waiting to jump in, but because I have just a laundry list of cool things to talk about.
So I'm whose side am I going to join here? Was it too slow? Was it just right? And I got to tell you, man, I'm gonna have to join Mike on this one. I thought this was a great pace. I said, and listen, I know Mike is the age-old, long-time Star Trek, knows every episode in the book fan, right? Moose, you're right there, but he's got you beat by probably three complete seasons of TNG. And so, but I can tell you that as a new Star Trek fan, right? That this was I think it was a great pace. I think it showed to what Mike is saying. There was so much to unpack. It made me want to go look and say, "Oh, who's that? What's this? Oh my goodness, I've never seen that before." And the fact that they took the Star Trek Discovery stuff, which in our eyes was the current tech, and now it's antique.
Well, yes and no, but keep going.
That for me, that part was exciting. I liked how the trailers made it felt like it was going to be something that it wasn't. And when we first saw this episode, I was blown away. And then as we start to peel away, I'll give more and more of my comments. So go ahead, Moose. I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh, you can start to peel back right now.
All right, I'm gonna peel some more then.
Go ahead, Mike. Mike's itching. His seat's on fire.
So let me just say that the slow burn was I didn't need to know more about the guy. Booker, was it Cleveland Booker? Is that his name?
Cleveland Booker, yeah. Book.
I didn't need to know more about him and his I just thought they beat it a little too hard in the front of the episode.
Well, you kind of have to, because you got 2 seasons of info on Burnham.
I get that. I get you want to know who he is, but I don't need to know who he is in the first 30 minutes of the show. Like you can drop hints along the way. And then, of course, the double cross in the beginning, I thought was really cool. I like that because that just showed, okay, well, he's the Han Solo of Discovery. He's the scoundrel. And then, of course, the rest of it. So when they're having to give a lot of backstory of what happened, I don't mind that. Like when they're saying, well, after the what they call it, the burn or something. I don't know what they call it.
The event they call it the burn. Yep.
Yeah, and then how there's no Starfleet and how so that's good. I like that. And what year did she end up in?
3188.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll talk about that. I want to kind of tie that into one of the other things that we have on tonight to talk about, and that is the timeline that was released and saying, okay, well, here's the official timeline for Star Trek, because that's way past anything that we know of, and that's kind of what you're getting at is that tech. But the tech almost, and I guess if for me personally, when the tech is too much, when it runs everything, it's almost like it's too fake. I need a button to push. That's weird. I'm sorry, but I need a button to push. I need a trigger to pull. I need a dial to turn. Like,
so you don't want to wave in the screen?
No, I don't mind the screen. But when you just put your hand over and it kind of, I don't know, the micro,
materializes.
Yeah, just build up. Anyway,
he wants some realism to his sci-fi.
Yeah, but that's because that's what you want. But that can be realism. I mean, just like you're talking about waving, or when you walk in front of the door to your cabin, it opens by itself. That's still the same thing as not touching something. It still senses you. It still reacts that way that we've seen in all the Star Trek so far. But there's some cool little things in here, some Easter eggs to some previous Star Trek TV shows. But I like the fact that they said his cat Grudge has a thyroid problem, which I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, but we got to see the Andorians. and the
I love seeing the Andorians. I love that because
Yeah.
and not just a cameo.
no, it wasn't. So I hope they're in it for the long haul. Although they do look quite a bit different
they do.
from the Enterprise version. Even when I say Enterprise, I'm talking about the last Enterprise show that we had.
Yeah, the show actually called Enterprise. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then we also saw the. Go ahead.
And no, I just and Rob in the chat room asked you which one should you start watching first, Discovery or Watchmen. Go ahead, Game God, you got this.
Discovery.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, absolutely Discovery. Well, we also got to see the Orions, right? They were also in Enterprise as well.
Absolutely.
The big show played in Orion and the TV show The Enterprise, by the way. But yeah, there's so many cool things to this. I just it gave me goosebumps at some point because Moose, you brought up the idea that that Starfleet's gone. So towards the end there, when she arrives at the communication station, whatever it's called, she gets there because I didn't know who that guy was in the beginning. I'm like, who is this guy? This is curious. Right. And when he finally, after the conversation, he finally goes, he's excited that she's there. Oh, it's back. How he couldn't. I'm getting goosebumps talking about how he couldn't raise the flag because it needed to be somebody.
Okay. All right, wait a minute. Let me pause real fast there. What you're about to get into was the best part of the episode.
Yes. Okay. I agree with you, Moose. That part definitely completed the episode. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I don't know how they were able to pull me in so good because here I am watching the show. I know that Starfleet is not there because we've heard about it already. And then within a 45-minute episode, I'm at the end with goosebumps because it feels like Starfleet's coming back after just being gone for 45 minutes in my real life. I don't know how they pulled me in so good, but man, it was great. They dropped the flag or they raised the flag, however you want to say it. And it was exciting. And then she makes him, an honorary member. Of Starfleet.
Which, by the way, is just a terrific move for that. I mean, hey, listen, since I'm it. I'm gonna make you as an acting, this is a great move to make. I love that.
It was a real powerful scene. I think that's what the goosebumps comes in because especially Mike and Moose, as you guys have been in all over the Star Trek lore, so much history about Star Trek, and to see, you would never ever think that the United Federation of Planets is gone. You would never think that Starfleet doesn't exist anymore. And here's this one guy, because you see snippets throughout the episode of him waking up every morning, same routine, sitting there and he's waiting.
Every time.
He's so humble. And even I get goosebumps now talking about, even as he speaks, he says, I got to tell you, I got to be honest with you. I'm not even official. Can you do me the honor? Like there, I'm like, oh my goodness, that you can see the emotion, the feeling he has for it.
So the tradition that he really embellished, so that the believers, what they call it, and I think that to me that symbolizes just our life. When we think about where we're at, I mean, I think the same thing. I think that that is a everybody can relate to that. We relate to it so well, and so it's something inside of you when you see it. You're like, yes, I know exactly how this guy feels, and to me, I think that's the biggest thing, is that people can relate.
Yeah, for sure. Open up that box and seeing the flag there, that's when the goosebumps really hit. I'm like, oh, that's the Federation flag. My wife be like, okay, calm down.
So Mike, I want to say, you mentioned a whole bunch of different races. I love the fact that everyone played a pretty good part in this episode, that they weren't just, it wasn't like a quick 30 seconds. Oh, look at that guy in the background. Like, they actually had speaking parts. There was some jokes between them. Like, forgive me, I'm probably going to get a whole bunch of Star Trek fans upset here. I don't know what the guy who's green, what's his race, and the guy that was with him, I don't know those races, but he looked like
one of the Orions, the guy who's greenish gray.
Yeah. And so I can tell you that there's obviously some history there, because they came as a pair and they were bouncing off of each other, some jokes back and forth. And I'm like, there's got to be something more to that. So, and it makes you want to look. So I thought they did a great job of putting all that stuff in. And even the villain of this episode, he was also great. They spared no expense with the makeup and the tech. I can keep going, Mike.
Well,
I mean, it's crazy.
Again, you look at the tech that it just kind of materializes. The phaser just kind of materializes in their hand. For me, I go, come on.
You want a phaser. You want a phaser. You want a physical phaser.
Because, okay, let's talk Iron Man suit.
Oh, let's talk it. But we know it's built into the suit.
Nanotechnology.
It's built into the suit, though. What's wrong with that? We know where it's at. We don't see it materialize.
Yeah, we do. We see it materialize when he has no suit on. He touches his chest, and it all comes on.
Hey, where's the Xbox games coming from? A cloud. It materializes.
What do they call that? Lady that's it. The lady in the box is in the house. Look at her. That's great.
Materialized.
The thing is that you've got to understand that what is it, like a micro, what do they call them in future tech? They call them like micro
nanonites, nanomachines,
nanobytes and things like not nanobytes,
Nanotechnology.
Yeah. So you're telling me that I can explain that with Iron Man. I get that. You can't explain it here, can you? It's a completely different realm.
I would never
tell you it's Star Trek. They're like, okay, this is what we had. This is where we are.
Okay, I would never think that Moose would be saying stuff about this.
Listen, I've always said this. I've always said it, and I've always said that I you have to be able to explain things. So I love the fact that they started talking about like the lithium cubes or
dilithiums.
Yeah. And then they started talking about the old tech. Not just the phaser and the communicator and like they were just talking about the old tech of like basically warp drive essentially.
Right.
It's like
oh, she got excited when they had portable warp drives.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about slipstream before in other Star Trek.
Yeah, so that's the thing is that because it's in the future, you can change that. Now that I'm okay with because I get that, but just out of nowhere, here's my face. Like I have a problem. I don't know.
Come on, when did they ever explain the switch from turning the knob in the turbo lift and saying where you wanted to go, then just walking into saying it? When did they ever explain that?
Listen, whatever. Until the other thing was obviously the tricorder. They're going to have better tech to do that. They've had better tech to do that, but anyway, so that's exciting. What was it? What was some other exciting pieces?
What is Book's power?
I don't know. I can't figure that one out. Obviously,
it's just his race. It's not a power. It's his race that it looks like they're able to communicate with
animals and plants.
Animals is what I would assume. Yeah.
Have we seen anything like this in Star Trek lore?
No, I have not.
Yes. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure we've seen something like it. Oh, what are the other things? Like the big, monster at the end, or that's the same. Yeah, that's the same thing they use to teleport, or to run the generator, or the other Enterprise.
Transworm.
The transworm. Yeah.
Yes,
so
that's absolutely right.
I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah.
So the power piece from Booker was a little different for me. I was like, I don't know how that kind of fits into the Star Trek universe. I want to see how that works.
It may not be that specific thing as you were asking, but Musa, there has been other things before, like in DS9 or Voyager, when I forget what race it was, but they turned into something else. They had other powers, quote unquote, but they had certain things that they did based on their race, and it's the same thing. So
think about Discovery season 1 where he's communicating with the transworms. I mean, essentially, he's talking to them. I mean, it starts right there.
Yep.
Oh, come on. That's a stretch, man. Listen, I believe materializing better than I do the communication to the animals.
You're out of your mind.
But see, here, what's really great is their Star Trek is doing so much right now. Not just Discovery. They're bringing up so much stuff, and I'm excited. My question after reading what I've seen that's coming out is, are they going to pass Star Wars and what they're doing? Because Star Wars is relying on movies. Star Trek has always done good with TV shows, and there was a long time there we had TNG, we had Discovery, Voyager, so on and so forth, Enterprise. Now they're starting to do that again, and they might take over the TV show screen with these upcoming shows. I mean, they already have Discovery that's going to be going for a little while longer. They have what's that?
Of course.
Picard, and then they have
Lower Decks.
They're going to have Lower Decks, but they're also come out with Section 31, Strange New Worlds. Those are spin-offs from Discovery. There's another kids animated show coming out with Captain Janeway that's going to be on it. So there's a lot of cool things coming out. I'm really excited to see this.
Yeah, and like we said, they're coming out with that. But there's also talk now of Avery Brooks, which is Captain Commander Cisco. Would you call him Captain? Did he get changed to Captain
He
after
did get to captain, yes.
Captain Cisco from Deep Space Nine? I mean, that's really impressive to think about that could bring him back into the Star Trek world, and that could go on a number of places. You could bring back a lot of people from DS9.
Yes, that's exciting.
So the question now becomes: did Discovery do this? Is this because of the Discovery show that kind of recharged all these shows? Because if this was the case, why couldn't they have done this before? Like, why they waited now to do all these spinoffs?
I don't know why they waited. That's a question for all the time. We go, what are they waiting for? It's still good stuff. Why aren't they continuing to put it out? Why haven't we got other things since
since Enterprise,
DS9, a Voyager? Like, why did they stop? Why did they have a continuing show on and on? And by the way, I've been most recently just going to sleep because as we do this, we watch things, but going to sleep to Enterprise for a long time now. And so the Andorians on that, I really love the way that they portrayed them. Anyway, it's really neat because you start seeing some other stuff. I mean, you just start looking at it different ways, and I love that. I love it.
Well, and I love what you're talking about here, Moose, because you and I both had talked about how Enterprise wasn't really big for us initially. We didn't think, but after I've seen it a couple times now, the series, and it actually turns out pretty good. So
the more I see it, the better I like it.
Is it one of those that it's got to grow on you?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, it's just that way.
Well, what I thought is really great too on this expansion of the franchise, if you want to call it, is that they're actually starting to plant the seeds with the kids and making the animated portion for the kids. I can't recall if they had a Star Trek animated series or cartoon that portrayed for the kids, that was catered to the kids.
They did have a cartoon. I don't know if it was catered to the kids, but they did have an animation. I don't recall it very well.
It's been many years, but that was with the original crew, and they voiced it. As a matter of fact, the Star Trek the animated series. I actually have it, the whole series over here. As a matter of fact,
in your DVD stash.
What was great is that you got William Shatner, you got Leonard Nimoy, you got the original actors to do the voices then, and so it's pretty interesting. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'd like to see what they do with the kids animated, because as you know, in the Star Wars universe, the kids stuff did really well, and it even brought in the adults into the kids animated stuff as well, and they're continuing to do it. So I'd love to see how that goes. So Star Trek is not going anywhere. 2027, huh? Is that what they're saying?
Something like that. But 2027. I'm butting in because I didn't get to comment on Moose's comment, which was DS9 was my favorite Star Trek, by the way. And so to see Avery Brooks possibly coming back to play in some role, whatever he's going to be in, I'm watching it. I can tell you that. He was my favorite captain to watch. I loved them all, don't get me wrong, but out of all of them, he was my favorite to watch.
Interesting.
So you guys are telling me, refresh on your Star Trek knowledge. Go beyond TNG. Is that what you're saying? Because that's all I've watched is TNG.
Oh no, you've got a lot more. I mean, you look at and by the way, that that recent timeline for Star Trek is interesting because it goes up through 2379, and for the year. But you look at the original. You look at when the Enterprise, when they released that, where that falls in on the timeline, way before the Star Trek, the original Star Trek, the original series. But the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. If you go through and start looking at that, you'll see a lot of cool stuff. I mean, it'll start to unfold for you, but you got to watch it. You can't not watch it. You know what I mean?
I can't go to sleep to it. I got to actually watch it.
No, you have to watch it. You got to watch it because other things will make more sense to you. It just will.
Well, that's great. I mean, I can't wait for this Thursday's episode of Discovery. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they got going on with the spinoffs. I hope they just don't wait 5-6 years to start releasing some of this stuff. I hope it's like one after the other.
Well, they didn't waste any time with Picard and Discovery, which I love, and we know some other stuff is coming. By the way, we saw what's her name, the captain in this next episode, I guess, or not next episode, in the upcoming season for season 3, that she's going to be there.
And she made a line. She goes, "I love this timeline or time."
Yeah,
something like that.
Yes. So that's interesting. And of course, we know that Enterprise isn't lost forever, that they've got to reconnect. We know that going into it. I guess Burnham just doesn't know it. So
yeah. Do you think they're in the future or they're in the past? Do you think she's catching up to them?
They're coming. They just haven't landed yet. They'll land. It'll come. It'll come.
That's the next episode.
It might be in another sector, but they'll come.
600 light years away. There's not one, so it's beyond 600 light years.
Which I love. I love that idea that long range sensors are now damaged and that they're not working, which I love. I love that.
So much information in tidbits.
Because it could be that that Starfleet is somewhere else.
Yes, it could be.
I would prefer them to rebuild it.
I would be good with either or. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm good with either one. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. It definitely will be rebuilt one way or another, whether reintroducing it into that sector or not. Either way, but yeah, that's gonna be exciting. I mean, I'm pumped about the next few episodes. Any final words? Anybody?
Hey, beam me up and magnify.
Just watch it. Watch Discovery. It will be the best season, I'll say it again, of Discovery.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks for joining us in the chat room, everybody. We appreciate your time. If you listen to the podcast, then tell a friend, share it, and by all means, listen to the whole thing. You never know what you're going to get. We'll see you next week.
I was just leaving.
Nerd alert.
You've been listening to Podcast for Sci-Fi with Moose, Game God, and Magic Mike. Nerds have more fun. If it's anything sci-fi, we're talking about it. We had fun, and we hope you did too. We have to split, but we'll be back soon. In the meantime, hit us up at podcast4sci-fi.com. This is Podcast for Sci-Fi, where all things sci-fi come to life. Come to life.
That's all you get.